Good morning, everyone. Today's video is all about my wood stove. That's right. That's that light you see there on the right-hand side of the screen. That's the Cub, put out by Cubic Mini Wood Stove, and it's basically changed my life, or at least changed my winters. No more surviving, man. I'll tell you what, it is amazing out here in Harvey the RV. We are styling. We are really styling, guys. I mean, I'm not cold. Don't worry about me. With that wood stove, life is good. And today, the video is all about my experience with it. You know, I'm not going to get into the size exactly of it and all the exact specifics, but I do want to get into my experiences with it and what it's done for me and how I use it, how I take care of it, those types of things. So stay tuned, man, because today is all about the Cub, put out by Cubic Mini Wood Stove. Alright, time to clean out the Cub. This little wood stove gets dirty quickly, man. It works hard, it burns hot, and it does a good job, but it leaves a little mess. There's always some ashes to pick up. I don't use anything fancy. I didn't buy the real expensive wood stove tools, especially for this stove. I've got an old garden spade I found out in the garage. Yeah. It works good. So I use this in the beginning. That's right. You know, I use it to start with because it fits in there. Just fits in there. Pretty snug. But I can get the most of it out this way. And then once I'm done, I move on to the spoon. To the teaspoon, nonetheless. And this is for cleaning out the corners, getting a really good clean in there. It really does a good job. That's all you need, man. Garden spade and a teaspoon. And let me tell you what, if the ashes are still hot, you need to throw them outside. Do not leave them inside. They will burn you down. Alright, as far as I'm concerned, there's only one more thing to do, and that's to tidy up. It can get rather messy quickly when you're cleaning out the wood stove. Or it can get rather messy quickly when you live in such a small space. So guys, I have to do this twice a day because I have a fire twice a day. Once in the morning and once at the end of the day. No big deal. From start to finish, I think it takes about maybe 5 minutes. So what do you say we have a fire? Sound like a good idea? I'm ready. Building a fire takes me back to being a kid. It's almost like it's sacred. Something I've been doing since probably about the age of 12. I can remember going into the woods with my little brothers or my friends, and maybe we'd take along a pack of hot dogs or take some eggs and bacon and make some toast out there. We had a cabin and we built a lot of fires. Right now I'm using some dryer lint and a dryer sheet there, I think. And I'm breaking up a piece of fat wood. That's fat wood. And what I like to do is take one piece and split it into 4 or 5 other ones so I can get 4 or 5 fires out of it. Anyway, building a fire is a big part of my life. Been doing it my whole life. We grew up with a wood-burning stove in our home, and we also had a fireplace. So I stacked a lot of wood growing up as a kid. And you know what? I swore I'd never do it again. But I'm still doing it, and I still love it. This is a little stove, that's right, you can tell, it's tiny. But let me tell you what, it does an amazing job. It heats up this 21-foot space in the best of ways. I mean, once this thing gets going, it stays between 70 and 95 degrees, no kidding. And the temperature of the stove is about, 450 to 500. Anyway, I love this little Cub. I love the whole process from start to finish. There's nothing like a good fire. So about at the 10 or 15 minute mark,
Whenever the Cub reaches 250 degrees or thereabout, the echo fan kicks in. It's a heat-powered fan. It doesn't make any noise, and it helps to circulate the air in the RV, and it works pretty well. I'm glad that I have it, and I think it's a nice addition. I live in upstate New York, and the weather here can get pretty cold, which means this is a 3-season stove for me. I use it from the beginning of October right through till about the middle of May, and I pretty much use it 7 days a week. You know, anytime the temperature drops below 35, 40 degrees, I put the wood stove on. I also supplement with an electric oil heater, and I only use that on the coldest of days because the floor gets a little bit cold. Sometimes my feet get cold. Other than that, this stove does all the heating for me. I've heard it said that this thing is a novelty. No way. You just have to know how to use it. It has its little quirks, you know, there's little things about it. One thing is you got to kind of keep that door open at times a little bit just to create a draft. It doesn't have a damper. It's a small stove. They actually do have a stove that's a little bit bigger than this one, and that's called the Grizzly. Once I have a nice bed of coals, I like to put in a bio brick, which is made out of compressed wood. They're really convenient. You put one of those in. I like to start with one. And they last for a little bit over an hour, and I basically don't have to check the fire during that time. Then I switch over to hardwood. My favorite is applewood. I just love applewood, but any hardwood will do. And when it comes to the end of a fire for me, I always end with a brick too. I guess because they're low maintenance. The one thing about the Cub, when you're using hardwood in it, you have to stick it in quite often. It gets very hungry, and because it's small, it eats it up really quick. Just like any other Cub, you know? They're hungry little critters. So I decided to make this video today because I figure there's probably some people out there who are wondering about a wood stove inside of an RV. And if you live in an RV where the weather's cold for a good part of the year, say anything below 35 degrees, you might want to think about it. It's a worthwhile investment. It definitely is. You know, there's some money involved in it. I think when it comes down to it, from start to finish, I probably paid $1,500, and that includes the install. You know, again, nothing novel about the Cub by Cubic Mini Wood Stoves. I mean, this is my main source of heat. I use it to dry clothes, I use it to dry my boots, I even do a little cooking on it. And it keeps the RV really nice and dry, and it keeps it warm, it keeps it hot, and it keeps it cozy. And you know what? It creates an atmosphere that I wouldn't want to be without. You know what it's like when you're hanging out in front of a fire. It's so peaceful. And to be in this little RV in the coldest of weather and be so cozy, you can't beat it.